I think it's pretty clear that the Lakers, no matter what happens at the end of the season, no matter how far they get, unless, I guess, they win the title, which is not the most likely outcome.
How about that defense?
I just don't see him in their plans past this summer. They didn't offer him an extension. They're going to have to give more money to Austin Reeves. They're going to have to beef up the defense. So I just don't think they want to sign a 41-year-old for another year or two.
Alyssa Thomas made headlines after looking directly into the camera and accusing WNBA leadership of failing to support her during a period of intense online harassment and abuse from internet trolls. Her emotional remarks quickly spread across the basketball world and sparked widespread discussion among fans and analysts. But the story took an unexpected turn when a single text message surfaced, raising questions about the accuracy of her claims and shifting the focus of the conversation. What began as a powerful criticism soon faced growing scrutiny, with many arguing that the newly revealed communication painted a different picture of her interactions with league officials. As the controversy gained momentum, reactions inside the arena and across social media changed dramatically, with increasing attention placed on whether her accusations matched the available evidence. Now, the spotlight remains firmly on Thomas as fans continue debating the situation and await any further response from those involved.
All-star voting, fan vote, first coming out. There were the usual suspects at the top, Luka Doncic, Giannis, but notably, one LeBron James was down at the bottom of the top 10. I think he was 8th in Western Conference, 7th or 8th in that range, which leads to the broader question of will LeBron make the All-Star team? I've been pretty adamant for the last week that he wasn't going to make it.
You've been ahead on this.
I anticipated the All-Star voting to be better for him, but I thought the player vote, or the player vote and the media vote would not be good for him.
The controversy grew after Alyssa Thomas said Commissioner Kathy Engelbert had not contacted her about the online harassment she said she was facing. Her comments quickly sparked debate and created the impression that the league had failed to support one of its veteran players. However, the story took a different turn when a reported text message and timeline surfaced, leading many fans and analysts to question her account. As more details became public, the focus shifted from her original claims to whether the available evidence supported them, making the situation even more controversial.
Because we were talking about it last week, and I think the fans generally are voting in the right direction. If you look at who's the top of those lists, they get 50% of the vote, the media gets 25% of the vote, the players get 25% of the vote, but the fan vote's a good indicator, right, on where things are going. I think you've been right when you say the coaches are less likely to put him on the reserves. Just the coaches tend to really reward like insider basketball picks more than they do names. I do think, though, whether it's the coaches or eventually Adam Silver, and we'll get to that in a minute, I think, and the players too, there's an appreciation of LeBron that sometimes the media and fans are so quick to jump into analysis of him and how he's playing. I think there's a lot of players in the league who still, really think, man, what that guy is doing is incredible.
The debate intensified after ESPN's Alexa Filippa reported that Alyssa Thomas and Commissioner Kathy Engelbert had exchanged text messages just days before Thomas made her public comments. That report quickly shifted the conversation, as many questioned whether her statement reflected the full picture of her communication with league leadership. Critics argued that the newly revealed timeline weakened her claims and turned what began as an emotional appeal into a growing public relations challenge, sparking even more discussion across the basketball community.
And then the real thing that could shift it is this new format, which is USA versus the world. And the idea is to have 8 players from the world and 16 players from the USA. However, they're not voting that way. The voting is still Eastern Conference, Western Conference. And the reason for that is, as I always say, team ownership in the East wants an all-star on their team that they can sell tickets for on the back end of the season. So there will always be East-West voting, no matter what format we have. But once you have those East-West pool in and you stick them back all together into one pool, if there aren't 8 international players or if there aren't quite 16 American players, Adam Silver is the one who appoints the final American player.
The controversy has led some commentators and fans to compare the situation to other high-profile public disputes, arguing that the story was presented in a way that created the strongest possible emotional impact. One podcast host strongly criticized what they described as a victim-focused narrative, claiming it shifted attention away from Thomas's on-court actions. While that comparison has sparked debate, it reflects the frustration expressed by some fans, who believe the public statements did not fully match the facts that later emerged. As a result, What was intended to strengthen her position instead fueled even greater scrutiny and criticism.
If Adam Silver appointed LeBron, he's played in 21, he hasn't played in 21. He's been appointed to 21, voted into 21 All-Star games. He didn't play last year, and he started in 20 of them, or voted as a starter in 20 of them. And I don't know, one of the reasons I thought this was a big deal when you brought it up last week is, does he use that weekend to announce that he's wrapping up after the season?
That would be interesting, and you've been on that for at least a week now, probably longer.
What stood out most was that Rachel Nichols wasn't surprised by the results at all. She pointed out that LeBron James had missed a significant portion of the season, whether due to injuries, rest, or load management, which meant he wasn't consistently on the court to build rhythm or maintain visibility. From her perspective, that gap in availability mattered, especially in a fan-driven voting system. While fans still respect his legacy, she suggested they are no longer willing to automatically place him in a starting role based purely on reputation. In today's landscape, she argued, past greatness no longer guarantees present-day votes.
My question with that is, if LeBron doesn't make it through traditional methods,
Sure.
would he want that appointment? Remember, he didn't play in the game last year, chalked it up to injuries, what have you. Do you think that he would want a last-minute appointment by the commissioner, or would someone like him say, I don't need it?
I want to go to Cabo, which is what I believe what he did last
boat
year.
somewhere and do my thing.
Right.
What do you think? You've covered him a long time. Do you think he would want that appointment?
I think it really depends on where his head is at in terms of how much longer he's going to play. I think it's pretty clear that the Lakers, no matter what happens at the end of the season, no matter how far they get, unless, I guess, they win the title, which is not the most likely outcome.
Not with that defense.
I just don't see him in their plans for past this summer. They didn't offer him an extension. They're going to have to give more money to Austin Reeves. They're going to have to beef up the defense. So I just don't think they want to sign a 41-year-old for another year or two.
There's also the reality of how LeBron James has looked on the court this season. While he can still produce offensively, his defensive impact has noticeably declined, and at times he appears to pick his moments rather than sustain a full effort on both ends. Fans are aware of that shift, and when it's combined with missed games, uneven availability, and a Lakers team struggling defensively, frustration naturally builds. For the first time, some observers feel he is being evaluated more like a standard superstar than an untouchable legend. Rachel Nichols then expanded the discussion beyond the All-Star race and toward his future in Los Angeles. According to her analysis, unless the Lakers make a championship run, she doesn't see LeBron being part of their long-term plans beyond the current season, especially given that no extension has been offered. The Lakers also face important roster decisions, including the need to secure Austin Reeves with a significant contract while also addressing their defensive weaknesses. From that perspective, committing major long-term money to a 41-year-old player, even one as accomplished as LeBron James, becomes increasingly difficult to justify based on the team's direction. That is the part many fans find hard to accept. The idea that Los Angeles may already be thinking about life after LeBron. This, according to analysts, is less about disrespect and more about organizational planning, focusing on sustainability, flexibility, and future roster construction. Within that framework, LeBron may no longer align with the Lakers' long-term financial or competitive timeline. That's also why All-Star voting is being discussed so heavily, as it is seen by some as a reflection of current public perception and present-day relevance rather than career legacy. LeBron finishing ninth in fan voting is being interpreted by some as a clear signal that public attention is shifting toward newer stars, with fans appreciating his legacy while focusing more on the league's present and future. Rachel Nichols also highlighted a less discussed factor from last season, when LeBron was voted into the All-Star game but later announced he would not participate, a decision that ultimately opened a spot that could have gone to another deserving player. According to that view, moments like that can leave an impression on coaches and players, and those memories may influence how voting decisions are made later on. Even so, Nichols acknowledged that respect for LeBron within the league remains strong, as players recognize how difficult it is to perform at a high level at his age. Many younger stars also grew up watching him, and for them, he still represents the defining figure of an era. That respect could still be enough to land him a spot on the All-Star roster as a reserve, but even then, the perception shift has already taken hold. Even if he makes it, Some believe the idea of LeBron as an automatic starter has been permanently altered. There is also a potential wildcard in NBA Commissioner Adam Silver, who under the new USA vs. World All-Star format has the flexibility to help shape rosters if balance is needed. That opens the door for LeBron to still be included as a commissioner's selection rather than through traditional voting. But that possibility raises a different kind of debate. Rachel Nichols questioned whether LeBron would even accept that path. Would a player of his stature be comfortable being selected rather than earning a starting spot outright? Or would he choose to skip the event entirely to avoid the optics? According to that line of thinking, the answer may depend on how LeBron himself views this stage of his career and whether this season represents his final chapter. Nichols suggested that if it is indeed a farewell campaign, then accepting an All-Star appearance, even as a selection, would make sense, pointing out that legends like Michael Jordan have taken similar routes late in their careers. Legends have taken that path before, accepting one final All-Star moment, taking their bows, and allowing the league to celebrate their careers one last time. But if LeBron James hasn't reached that stage mentally, the situation becomes far more complex. What makes this moment even more significant is that LeBron has never truly experienced being unwanted in his basketball life. From his early years, teams have built around him, coaches have designed systems for him, and franchises have prioritized him as the centerpiece. This would be the first time he might face the idea of a team moving in a different direction. For someone whose identity has long been tied to being the focal point of the NBA, that shift is not easy to process. Still, from a basketball and business standpoint, interest in LeBron would not disappear. Teams like the Clippers, Warriors, or even a return to Cleveland are often mentioned as potential landing spots, and his presence would still guarantee ticket sales, packed arenas, and strong merchandise demand. Even as his role evolves, his impact on the league's popularity remains undeniable. But from a basketball standpoint, fitting LeBron into a true contender without sacrificing roster flexibility is no simple task, and there are also personal considerations, including the difficulty of uprooting his family after so many years in Los Angeles. When all of these factors are combined, the All-Star voting begins to look less like an isolated result and more like a signal. Fans aren't reacting with anger or backlash, they are simply shifting their focus forward. Being ninth in the voting isn't framed as disrespect, but as reflection. LeBron has always been intentional about managing narratives and understanding media cycles, and he knows how quickly a storyline can change. In theory, a retirement announcement during All-Star Weekend would immediately reshape the conversation into a celebration rather than a debate about decline. But if that moment doesn't come, the league and its fans may continue responding to him in the same way they have this season. Rachel Nichols didn't argue that LeBron is finished or unable to perform at a high level. Her point, instead, was about perception and direction, particularly the idea that the Lakers may no longer view him as part of their long-term future. And once that kind of shift takes place, everything around it begins to change: voting trends, media framing, and organizational priorities. LeBron James remains one of the greatest players in NBA history, a status that is beyond dispute. But even greatness doesn't halt time, nor does it prevent the league from evolving around new stars and new eras. The All-Star voting, the Lakers' silence, and Rachel Nichols' comments have all fueled the same broader narrative. Something is shifting around LeBron James. For some observers, this isn't just about one season in Los Angeles. It feels like a possible turning point in how the league moves forward.